Are you waving? Huh? I say, hello, hello. You see yourself over there? Look, here, let's make you big. Let's make you big. Whoa, look, it's you. It's you. Alright, let's make you small. You're getting small. Maybe we need to be smaller. Let's go even smaller. Maybe this is okay for now. Okay. You know what we're going to do today? We're going to make this thing work. Huh? We're going to make this thing work today. Does it sound good to you? Yeah? Let's make it work. Yeah, make it work. You know what to do? I don't know either. This here says we have a null pointer exception. Hi. Say hi, people. Okay, so you see this here, Janine? Yes. Yeah, you see you. Yes. So you see this here code here. This is the code that Daddy's trying to recreate over here. Yes. That's how I feel about it too. And Daddy has put the same code over here. Pretty sure. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's the same code. Dun dun. And there's a problem. There is a problem with it. What? What are you doing now? You want to get down? Oh. I'll be right back. What? Oh, you want some of this? Okay. Oh. What do you want? What do you want? What? You want to... What's the matter? Want to go back out there? Hmm? What? So the cats were chasing, or the dogs were chasing the cats. And I need to... This thing here, I need to adjust the audio. Because I thought I fixed it before. But like the video was so loud compared to how loud I was talking and how loud my microphone is. Let me see, test. So if I talk loud, the microphone doesn't go to this red area. But Dan was just super loud. So maybe like if I put it around here between 30 and 35, before it was here at the same level, minus 20. Yeah, let's put it like right here, and hopefully that will be where we want it. You troublemaker. What do you want? What do you want? That thing? No. Okay, you can have a couple of rubber bands. Alright, let's put this back over here. So, we're getting a null pointer exception. Now before... Let's see what runs. Runs just has a... It's the object mapper. Cannot invoke read value. Papa? Because this object mapper is null. This object mapper. So this object mapper. Yes. This object mapper would be the one down here in the try statement. But, I mean, shouldn't the exception get handled if it was here? Is this object mapper? Ha 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 ha. Ha 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 ha. Perhaps this is this yeah. Perhaps this is this object mapper. It is null. And if I look at runs.java, I'm on the other screen right now. That code matches. We have data, which is blank. Maybe I need to delete that. I thought I did delete that though, did I not? Maybe I didn't save it after I deleted it. So in the one on GitHub, inside of the data folder, there's only... Oh, I'm not in the data folder. Let me look at this. I'm actually not in a data folder. That's a class. So this is a problem here. I think I need to delete this. Yes, you silly baby. So resources, it has a schema, which she's waving at herself in the mirror. It has a schema, so I think here's the problem. Mama. What, you want mama? Yo, mama's over there. Okay, so schema, application properties, but runs should be inside of a folder called data. Is this a folder? I don't think it is. What is this? Yes. Oh. You get your baby. Hey, I'm recording, so you get your pajama wearing self over there.
Night light, please. Look at that.
You.
Night light.
Let me close the door so people don't see you in your nightgown. Oh boy, where is the nightlight? Isn't even in here. It must be over there. Okay. I'm pretty sure this is part of the problem. So whatever this file is, I'm just going to get rid of it. Oh, I'm actually going to stop this recording. This will be like a blooper reel, I think. Yeah. Okay, so we're back in business. So the issue that I was having, number one with my last video, was my audio settings. The desktop audio being mixed in was too loud again. So I lowered that down. Hopefully that's where it should be. But also, when I'm trying to run the program, I'm getting a null pointer exception on the object mapper that we created inside of this data loader. I guess it's this guy here. I'm having a problem with this code because I think this runs.json is not in the right place. So like you see here, name data.run /. So I think when I created this this thing here, I was supposed to make a folder. I was supposed to make a folder, and I guess I was tired because I did file. It's supposed to be a directory called data, and then runs.json is supposed to be inside. Oh boy, cat. Meow meow. Let me get the cat. Ugh. Come here, cat.
Yes, you bring that cat to me.
Oh. I had to start the recording over because the baby was in here, although probably she would get some more views than me. But now the cat, and then my wife. Anyway, I think that should fix it. That was the problem. I think that was the problem anyway. This needed to be... There's a static and a templates. I don't know why. There's nothing even in there. And these two folders don't exist on Dan Vega's GitHub. But this one does. And the runs.json is in there. Let's try to run this. Still no. Still no. Cat, you're not going to roam around my office. It was still the same problem. It's still got the same problem. So, runs.json, this has values in it. Let me just check. I'm looking off screen right now. It should be correct. I'm gonna kick you out, cat, if you can't relax. Just relax. What is the problem? This object is null. Line 31. Can I click this? Yeah, it's going right there. So this is the thing. And let me go to... On my other monitor I have the code from GitHub. I'm pretty sure I copied everything. Private. Oh wait, I changed that. So this is not the same anymore. Private final. Yeah, it don't even like that. It don't even like that. Private final. It actually has this one first. But of course that doesn't matter. It's probably something like really simple, right? Oh, wait a minute. Wait a minute. So there is this thing, the qualifier. This qualifier. Public. So this is probably the key, the spring annotation that makes it work. Because it's some sort of instance that Spring is handling or maintaining. I don't managing. Maybe that's the word. So here, no, not here. Here, public run JSON data loader. Where are you? This is the constructor that I don't even have. What? How do I not have this? So I'm pretty sure this is different than the video. Because this one is taking in the run repository. But on GitHub, it's not taking in, well, it's also taking in the object mapper. So maybe I missed that. Let me just copy all this. Actually, no, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to do it by hand. First, we get the object mapper. Called object mapper. Then we get at qualifier, which I think is extremely important here. Excuse me. JDBC run repository. I don't have one of those though. I don't have one of those yet. So maybe I don't need to put that in right now. Maybe I just need the object mapper. And then here I need this object mapper is equal to object mapper. So that's what the error was saying. This object mapper was null. So this constructor makes it not null. Makes it not null. And maybe later in the video he's going to have us do the JDBC run repository. Perhaps. And I think all these are the same. Hold on. Override. How do I say this? String of variable length of arguments. String of arguments. String array of arguments of variable length. Throws an exception. So if we have nothing in the system yet, if there's no runs into the system yet, then we're going to try to read the JSON file. We're going to use an object mapper to this object mapper. Yes, I think so. To do that, it's going to get the keys and values from the JSON file. And then it's going to use the save all It's going to use the save all method in run repository to save it all in the list of runs that's in the run repository. The controller will handle taking the request and sending it out, sending that information back. Yes, I think so. If there's an error reading the actual file itself, I think that's what the IO exception is. That's why I'm not seeing it, because it's the object mapper that was null. Hopefully it's not null anymore. Alright, let's try again. Yeah, okay, that worked. So I'm assuming that Dan oops. Let me bring up Dan's video if I can press the right buttons here. Oh, we don't want studio. We want no. Regular YouTube. We want this video here. So at some point in time, I missed this. I wasn't paying enough attention. And I guess it's a little hard because sometimes he's just pasting in a whole bunch of code. And sometimes I'm pretty tired. Alright, let's continue.
Right. So, this will, I already restarted, let's do that. And then we can go to the browser. We can reload our database here. And we can say connect, and now we can click run, and now we have 10 runs in the...
Alright, let's see if that works. We want this one. And it's working. Okay.
Database.
Thank you, Dan.
And we've loaded those through that JSON file. So cool, we're doing some fun things here. We've connected to a database. That was pretty easy. We're using an in-memory H2 database. We've made some progress replacing our in-memory run repository with a repository that is actually talking to the database. And then we just did some kind of batch operation where we can read from a file and insert into a database. So this has been fun. We're not done yet. Next, what I want to do is kind of replace this in-memory database. This was fun for getting up and running, but let's talk a little bit more about how we can take this one step further. All right, so we've already looked at using an embedded H2 in-memory database. Now I want to talk about using something a little bit more productive.
So that was really brief. So I'm assuming the H2 is like just for testing. I mean, it's got to be like, because what do you use it for other than that? I wonder if there's a way to like use this on a server somehow.
Production like, and that is a PostgreSQL database. So from a coding perspective, there's not much change. Now we saw with the H2 database, we could simply fire up the application and we had an in-memory database up and running. With something like Postgres or MySQL, there's a little bit more, but not much. So I'm going to go ahead and comment out this. And all we would have to do is go ahead and set up a URL, a username, and a password. Now the URL looks something...
Okay, so I did this before with MySQL. And I got it working. In fact, I think right now... MySQL status, is that sudo MySQL status. So what I want to know is, because what I noticed was I created a database on here, and even when I like turned off my system and turned it back on, it like automatically was available. Like I didn't have to come back in here and enable it, turn it back on. And maybe that's fine. I guess you shouldn't just leave it up and running on your system all the time, even if it doesn't use very many resources. It just doesn't seem like a good idea to do. So quickly, I want to ask ChatGPT about that. I previously set up a MySQL database on my local machine. I noticed each time I boot my machine, the database is already available without needing to start it up. For now, I do not need to use this database. How can I turn it off so it's not up and running for no reason? Is it up and running each time I boot? I really hate this like response 1 and 2. Like I'm really not gonna read both of these. Like I usually just pick one each time. Like number 1. I'm just like, okay, the one on the left. I really don't understand the differences either. It's just like wording it a little bit differently. I really think this is a poor choice. Like, of making people choose. I really don't like that. Okay, so yes, it's running automatically like I thought it was. Okay, well, not on Windows. I can stop it. Disable? So not stop, but disable. Okay. This seems like what I want. Let's do exit. I like the little bye. Bye. Always forget about the shift. Removed? Wait, what is this? Synchronizing state. Why does it say install though? And what is SYSV? SysV. Removed. ETC system D default. Okay. And then to verify, I'm going to use a pipe and a grep, pipe with a grep, and I need to learn what the pipe is. 2 commands, I think, one after the other. I don't even know what that means. And I don't need this. If it doesn't appear in the list, it is not running. Well, I see it. I see it. I do see it in the list after running the disable command. Also, what is psaux? What is the bar symbol? And what does grep do? Oh, so I need to stop it also. Okay. I also need to stop it. Sudo system control MySQL stop. No. Stop MySQL. Okay, I did it backwards. Sudo system control stop. What are we stopping? MySQL. And now when I run this command, should be fine. Now, PS is process status. It's not auxiliary, it's AUX. AUX is for all users. A all. U, the user who owns. Don't really need that U in there. X includes process is not attached to a terminal, so that might be important. Okay. I think this is just saying that it's going to color MySQL red like it did up here if it appears. Pipe passes the output of one command into another like a pipe. So the first command was psaux. The output of that gets passed into grep. Grep is a search. It filters the output of running processes to only show lines containing MySQL. Okay. So let me just copy and paste this in. So does this indicate it worked? That's what I thought. All right. Let's go back to the video.
something like JDBC colon
Okay.
let's see, colon Postgres SQL, something like that. Localhost 5432 runners, and then you have a username and a password. If you have a Postgres database up and running on your local machine right now, you could do that. Set up a runners database, and then now let's talk about.
So those things don't appear to be needed. We do not have this yet.
About a couple things now. First off, you need a Postgres database up and running. So how can we do that? You can download, you can install it, or you can go the route which I'm going to go, which is like the Docker route. Second off, in this schema file only gets picked up by embedded databases by default. We are not going to run this automatically when you're using something like Postgres or MySQL. So you have to tell us that, hey, I do want you to go ahead and run that. And the way that you do that is by using the spring.sql.init mode and setting that to always. So that would be good if we have a database up and running on our local machine.
I missed
Which
that.
I do not.
Say that again.
I want you to go ahead and run that. And the way that you do that is by using the spring.sql.init mode and setting that to always.
One more time.
So that would be good.
One more time.
That's go ahead and something like Postgres or my way that you do that is by using the hey, I do want you to go ahead and run that. And the way that you do that is by using the in-memory database. Now I want to talk about using something a little bit more production-like. In perspective, there's not much change in-memory pool. There's a little bit more, but not much. So I'm going to go ahead and comment out this username and a password. Now the URL looks something like JDBC colon let's see, colon Postgres username and a password. If you have a Postgres database up and running on your local machine right now, you could do that. Set up a runners database, and then now let's talk about a couple things now. First off, you need a Postgres database up and running. So how can we do that? You can download, you can install it, or you can go the route which I'm going to go, which is like the Docker route. Second off, in this schema file only gets picked up by embedded databases by default. We are not going to run this automatically when you're using something like Postgres or MySQL. So you have to tell us that, hey, I do want you to go ahead and run that.
The schema.
And the way that you do that is by using the spring.sql.init mode and setting that to always. So that would be good if we have a database up and running on our local machine, which I do not. So you could go ahead and install Docker. So Docker is a way to run a container. A container can be anything from like a database to another application to whatever application we can containerize, right? In this case, it's going to be a PostgreSQL database. This means that I can just run a Docker command and spin up a Postgres database without having to like download and configure do all the things that we used to do. So you have a couple options here. You can come in here and you can go to Docker Hub and look for a particular container. In this case, Postgres. You go down. How do you start a Postgres instance? It has the actual Docker run command. You could run this, but then you need to like configure your properties, and you need to do this every time you start your application up. There's also something called Docker Compose, which is a file, in this case docker-compose.yaml, that could sit in the root of your project, and you can run Docker Compose up it'll look at this, find all the services that it needs to start up, and start them up. And this is really handy because imagine a scenario where we had, Docker or Postgres running, Kafka, RabbitMQ, some other thing, some other microservice. So this is really nice to be able to like start up services. And in Spring Boot 3.1, we introduced the Docker Compose module, which simplifies a lot of things, and we'll talk about those. So when you're over at start.spring.io and you pick a dependency, let's talk like PostgreSQL, right? When you pick the Docker Compose modules, we go in here, Docker Compose support, it's now going to look at all the other services or dependencies that you've selected. So you've selected Postgres, maybe you've selected Kafka, and what it's going to do, it's going to create a Docker Compose file with those services listed. So one way we can look at this is by checking the Explorer. Again, I'm going to choose Maven. I'm going to check the Explorer, and there is a compose.yaml file now. So now this is listing the services based on the dependencies that we've had. So this is really good. So that's the approach that we're going to take today. So I'm going to show you this. From the pom.xml, I'm going to copy this PostgreSQL driver and the Docker Compose support. So with that, we can head back over to our IDE here, and I'm going to go into my pom.xml. I am going to just delete the H2 database and now bring in the Docker Compose support with the Postgres.
Okay. I gotta take care of a few things, so I'm gonna just hit pause here for a while, and then I will carry on with this in a little bit. Okay, so back again, and he was talking about getting Docker and getting Postgres set up on the system, but he didn't explicitly say like go ahead and do that. And then he's talking about Docker Compose. So I'm also confused about. I need to start this up. I need the Spring initializer. Let me just shoot this over here. Actually, so I don't know if I need to pretend like I have all these, right? Because he was talking about the YAML file. Should I just go ahead and do that? Web, DevTools, validation, JBDC. We don't need H2 anymore. Maven Java 3.41 Web Dev DB. Validation. Okay, and then we want Docker was that all? Postgres. I can't remember where that YAML file was at, but I definitely need these two things. Okay. There's the YAML. So he didn't have us do that yet. So
SQL driver. I'm going to go back here and copy the compose.yaml file. So I'll just copy that.
test. Let me check my audio real quick. Because I even heard an echo. Not only was this too loud, but there was an echo, like the mic was picking it up, and it should like know not to do that.
And I'm going to create a new file in the root called compose.yaml.
Test.
Now, if you have other conventions, maybe you put this in a Docker folder and call it Docker Compose or whatever you want to call it. You can go ahead and set this up in there and call it Docker. Have a new file.
Where?
So I'll just copy that, and I'm going to create a new file in the root called compose.yaml.
Okay, let's do that. Let's do that. Copy. And all his had right was
Going to create a new file. So
it just had this stuff here. In the root, new file, compose.yaml, cancel. I think I'm just going to be pasting that in. Pretty sure.
just copy that, and I'm going to create a new file in the root called compose.yaml. Now, if you have other conventions, maybe you put this in a Docker folder and call it Docker Compose or whatever you want to call it. You can go ahead and set this up in your properties file. You can change where we're looking for that. By default, we're looking for Compose, or I believe Docker-Compose in the root of the application. So I'm going to...
Oh, I did that wrong. There is no... Wait a minute. Here it's YAML. Here it's YML.
I'm going to post that. Go ahead and set that in there. Now, I want to make a couple changes to this because...
Let's do what he did. Even though I feel like they should not be different.
The first thing is the image. I'm going to leave this how it is, but you may want to change it. So the image is saying, hey, grab whatever the latest Postgres image is. Great for whatever we're doing right here today, but if you're on a team and other people are pulling this down, we want to make sure everybody's on the same version. So we may want to specify a version here. In this case, I'm going to set a database of runners. We'll call this my username. Let's call this password for very secure password, and then we'll go ahead and set this to data. So that's the username, password, and the database name. Now the port, interestingly enough, when you use a Docker Compose file, you just specify one port. What that's saying is, on my local machine, just use a dynamic port. I don't care which port you're using, but on the container side, I want you to map it to 5432, because that's the port that Postgres is running on in the container. Now this is fine, but in the instance that I want to actually connect to the database, I need to know the port number. Now you could jump through some hoops and run some commands and find out at runtime what port this is using, but I want to be very specific here. So I'm going to say, hey, this is 5432 is going to map to 5432 on my local machine. Now when we use our database tools, we can connect to the database using that port. So with all of this in place, I think what I want to do is just restart the application, see if we have any errors. Oh, and we do, because Docker Desktop is not running. So let's make sure Docker Desktop is running.
Alright, he's using Docker Desktop. Now the first thing I want to check here, because people were complaining about the tutorial. Yeah, I agree with this comment too about this particular thing. Okay. Is Docker Desktop free? Is it free? Okay, so it's free as long as I'm not a big company. Or making a lot of money. Docker Desktop on Linux runs a virtual machine which creates and uses a custom Docker context, desktop-Linux, on startup. This means images and containers deployed on the Linux Docker engine before installation are not available in Docker Desktop for Linux. What? Images and containers deployed on the Linux Docker engine before installation are not available. I don't get that. So I need both of these things? Is that what we're saying? Docker Desktop for Linux stores containers and images in an isolated storage location within a VM and offers controls to restrict its resources. Using a dedicated storage location for Docker Desktop prevents it from interfering with the Docker engine installation on the same machine. Well, it's possible to run both at the same time. There may be situations where running both at the same time can cause issues. Stop the engine while you're using the Docker Desktop. Here's the commands to do so. Okay, this is getting a little confusing. Um, so desktop does this, but things that are deployed on the engine are not available. What is the engine for, though? It includes Docker engine. I'm so confused. Experimental package is available for Arch. Okay. Let's do this. Oh, good. I like it when I can just do it through the terminal easily, and they give you the sudo apt-get update. Einico. Too fast. Okay. Okay. Sudo apt-get install /docker desktop amd64 .debian. What? Why? Oh, I gotta download the package first. Okay. Let's go. CD downloads. You have held broken packages. What? Why? Docker CECLI. Why is it not installable? Okay. I need this. Why is it not installable? Why? Oh boy. gonna try the AI approach here. Install CA certificates, whatever those are. Curl GNU PG. Sudo apt auto remove. Okay. Sudo install -m 0755 with a D flag, whatever that is. etc apt key rings. I don't know what that means. I'm just gonna go ahead and, whoa. I don't want to type all that in. Okay, well that did something. That did something. AR, we're changing the access. Why? We're gonna echo this thing. Why? That's not what I wanted. Echo. I wonder what that's doing. Probably shouldn't be doing that since I don't know what it's doing, right? Let's see what happens though. Ubuntu, Brave, Malvad. I got something from Docker. Now we're gonna try this. Man, it's a half a gigabyte. Slurp for net NS. Okay, let's try this again. Let's try this again now. What? Oh, okay, that's not the right command. Now it's working. I don't know what I just did, but it's working. I don't understand what the key rings are. Somehow it makes sure that when I download the CLI, it's gonna work. It's gonna get the right one, or it's gonna like put it in the right place, or like allow it. It's kind of weird. Permission denied. As root. So this is quite old. No, I definitely said sudo. The user. But did it download it though? Did it do the thing? Whoa, why is this? Why? Why? Good lord, why do they gotta make it so hard? It looks like it's installed. The first thing I need to do, I need to back up my work. I need to push it. Get status. Git add. Git commit -m. Now setting. Done with H2. Now Postgres. Git push. Oh. Git push origin main. Okay, I did that. It looks like Docker's running.
running on our local machine to make this work. Again, if you don't have Docker Desktop, no big deal. You can go ahead and set up an actual Postgres database and connect to that.
No, I want to do Docker.
But now you can see it says using Docker Compose file. It sees some services and it went ahead and fired those up. So that's up and running. Now we have a database connection to a PostgreSQL database.
Really?
And we've actually.
And why is that? Because this does it? I see why this guy was like making this comment. Where was the thing? I was able to work out Docker on my own. Yeah, which is what I'm going to have to do. I think I'm going to end the video here. Because I had to wake up early tomorrow to go to Taekwondo, so tomorrow I need to go back to this Docker install guide. I'm gonna need to do this stuff here. You can ignore this error message. That was this one. Okay. So I'm wondering if I just get this going, if Spring will like automatically get Docker to set up the database. Is that how that works? Because I mean, I have MySQL installed and I can set up a MySQL database on my machine. I'm assuming I can do the same thing with Postgres, just like I did with MySQL on my machine. And I still don't, I've watched a few videos about Docker, but I still don't entirely remember or understand what it does. But I'm wondering if I have Docker running and then I run this program, if this Docker Compose dependency will like automatically do what I want. I don't know if that's what he's saying. But let's just go ahead and save. And yeah, we'll pick this up tomorrow. Alright, see ya.